Given, sir. Given, sir. It's coming, sir. Preparing to live streaming. It's coming, sir.
Okay, sir. Go ahead.
Once again, a pleasant morning and welcome you all for this online webinar on design thinking and innovation, initiated by Institute of Innovations Council, R.M.K. Engineering College, Chennai, Tamil Nadu. The main motivation of this program is to give an importance and the steps to follow for innovation, startup, and entrepreneurship. On this great occasion, I request our beloved principal of R.M.K. Engineering College, Chennai, Dr. K. Human-centric sir, to felicitate these online webinars. Please, sir, welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. A very good morning to one and all joining in this webinar organized by Institution Innovation Council of R.M.K. Engineering College. On behalf of our respected chairman, sir, members of the management, all the faculty members, students, and my own behalf, I wholeheartedly thank and welcome all the participants who have registered and showing your interest to attend this webinar on design thinking and innovation. This program is organized under Innovation Ambassador Program. My dear participants from various institutions across the country, hope you are all doing fine and safe during this pandemic period. Institution Innovation Council and R.M.K. Engineering College jointly organized so many webinars during this lockdown period for the benefit of all the students of our college and other colleges across the country and also outside the country. And we have also organized so many webinars and online workshops for the benefit of all the faculty members of our institution and other institutions. AICTE has sponsored 2 STTPs in ACE and CSE departments, and we have successfully conducted 6 days AICTE sponsored STTP. And we have also planned to conduct 2 more STTPs during August. So kindly get the schedule if you are interested, and if it is specific to your area of interest, attend and get benefit out of it. So my dear faculty members, the purpose of conducting these webinars, workshops through online mode during this lockdown period is to enrich our knowledge with respect to our area of specialization. At the same time, so we have to make use of this knowledge enrichment for the benefit of our own career, research, and also for the benefit of our students. So I thank the organizers, Dr. B. Jaison, Dr. Jodi Suruban, and Dr. Somasundaram, IIC coordinators of our R.M.K. Engineering College, for taking very sincere efforts to organize 3 webinars continuously for the past 3 weeks. So this is the last one we are going to attend. And I also thank all the faculty team for taking very sincere efforts for arranging the webinar. And I also thank the technical team, Mr. Arthanariswaran, system admin of our institution, to provide all the online link facilities for conducting this webinar in a successful manner. So wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Now I request today's speaker, Dr. B. Jaison's Innovation Ambassador from R.M.K. Engineering College, Chennai, to start the session. Please, sir.
Good morning, Principal Sir, for your nice introduction. Good morning, participants from affiliated engineering colleges. Now, the topic of today's webinar is design thinking and innovation. Let me take this opportunity to thank the MHRD, Ministry of Human Resource Development Innovation Cell, and the institution's Innovation Council of R.M.K. Engineering College for giving me an opportunity to deliver this webinar. MIC has conducted Innovation Ambassador Training Program in R.M.K. Engineering College during the month of January 8th and 9th. Around 300 participants from the states of AP, Telangana, Kerala, and Puducherry, even Tamil Nadu participated in this program. Training is important to faculty members in the areas of intellectual property rights and technology transfer, entrepreneurship development program, design thinking and innovation. We have 3 innovation ambassadors in R.M.K. Engineering College. Professor Dr. M. Somasundram sir from Electronics and Communication Engineering Department, Dr. Jyoti Surban sir from Electronics and Instrumentation Engineering, and myself from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. Now, the objective of conducting such webinar is to inculcate the culture of design thinking and innovation ecosystem among the students. It may be an IPR ecosystem or whatever may be. We are going to inculcate the culture of design thinking ecosystem among the students. That's the main motive or the objective of conducting such workshops. And we are conducting many such events organized both by MHRD Institution Council, that is MIC, and the Institution Innovation Council of R.M.K. Engineering College during our academic period. Over to my presentation. Being a Sunday, I will give a very small presentation. First of all, before going to design thinking, let's see what design is. Right? Design is nothing but making things better for people, right? If you make something good for people, then we call it as a good design, right? And if it's not of good shape, for example, design is nothing but a visual look or a shape given to a certain object. If a particular object is of a good shape, then we call it as a good design. And if the object is not of good shape, then obviously it's not a good design, right? Therefore, obviously we prefer a good shape for a particular object, then we'll call it as a good design. Therefore, good design obviously makes the product more attractive, right? Good design will make the product more attractive. Obviously, the product will be more comfortable, right? Therefore, design is what we expect from each and every product we buy in the market. We want a good design. Thereby, it is more attractive, it is more eye-catching, and obviously, it will be comfortable for the users to use in their point of view. Okay. Next, we will go to design thinking. Design thinking is nothing but, for example, we have a traditional solution to a problem. You think like this. You have a traditional solution to a problem. You are using something in your day-to-day life. What we are going to do is we are going to redefine the problem and we are going to find out an alternative solution or a better strategy for the particular problem. I will give in a different way. For example, you can see old people, right? They will find very difficult to move around, right? They will be using the traditional way of moving around. For example, they will be using this walking stick, or they will be using a rolling chair, or there will be some using some arrangement where they can move around either inside the flats, right? Now, this is a traditional way for the old people to move around. Now, what we can do is they're facing a lot of difficulties. They cannot move beyond their room. They cannot move beyond their apartment, and they're facing a lot of difficulties in their day-to-day life. So what we are going to do is we are going to redefine the problem and we are going to find out some alternative solution. Not this traditional walking stick is not going to help beyond a certain distance. Even the rolling chair is also not going to help them beyond a certain distance. So what we are going to do is we are going to do some innovation and we are going to find out an alternative solution or a better strategy. Now what we can do is, nowadays we have the AR VR glasses. AR is nothing but the augmented reality and VR is nothing but the virtual reality, right? We have the AR VR glasses wherein if you wear the AR VR glass, you have the feel of moving around. You can move, even you can go to the shop, you can have a cup of coffee, you can go to a friend's house, you can go to a nearby park, you can chat with your friends. You will have such a feel when you wear an AR VR glass. This is again a very good example for design thinking, right? We are moving away from the traditional way of using the walking stick and rolling chair, etc., etc. And we are going for a new technology, that is AR VR, in which innovation is being inserted, so that once we wear the AR VR glass, we can move around, we can feel happy with our friends, we can go to the park and so on. Therefore, redefining an existing problem and finding an alternative solution or a better strategy is called as design thinking, right? Now, design thinking is a human-centric approach. Whenever you go for design thinking, it should be a human-centric approach. First of all, what we are going to do is we are going to identify the problems which are affecting the human beings. Then we are going to find out the solution for the particular problem. It may be any problem we are facing in our day-to-day life. We are going to find out the problem which the users are facing in their day-to-day life, and we are going to find out the solutions for the particular problem, right? We are going to find out the solutions for the real world problem. That's very, very important. Design thinking is applicable mainly in the real world problems. But at the same time, whenever we are going for design thinking, whenever you are going to do some innovation, we have to keep the end user in mind. For example, when you are going to design for something for old people, right? You have to keep the old people in mind. You have to meet them. You have to get their queries. You have to conduct some surveys. You have to conduct some observations, and based on that, you are going to design the product. Similarly, if you are going to design something for teenagers, you have to keep the teenagers in mind. For example, if you're going to design a smartphone, you have to keep the teenagers in mind and you have to design the particular product. Similarly, if you're going to design something for a woman, then you have to keep the women in mind and then you have to design. Then only the innovation will be successful. Therefore, design thinking solves the complex problem, right, from the user's point of view or the user's perspective, right? Now, we are going to see some basic examples we are using in our day-to-day life. Now we are I'm going to do definitions. What I told, it's explained as the process of redefining problems in an attempt to find out an alternative solution or a better strategy, right? Okay, now we are seeing two examples for design thinking, right, to the left and to the right. The first one is a sink on the top of the toilet, right? What is so special about this toilet? What is so special about this toilet? When you flush the water, what will happen? When you flush the water, which refills the cistern, water will first come out of the tap, which allows you to wash the hands. Thereby, you are serving two purposes, right? You are washing the hands simultaneously. It is flushing the toilet. So here there are two advantages. You are saving the space simultaneously. You are saving the water. A very good example for design thinking, right? A sink right on the top of the closet, right? Okay, therefore this is a very good example. And to the right hand side, you are seeing an illuminated switch, right? Now, for example, when you're sleeping in your own house, maybe the room may be familiar, right? You're sleeping for a long time and in the late night, you want to turn on the light, right? Normally, people will find very difficult to turn on the switch, right? Because even though the room is familiar, we find very difficult. This is a problem being faced by each and every one of us in our day-to-day life. So what we can do is, we can go in for an illuminated light switches. It is also called as backlit. There will be a small light at the back end of the switch, or at the backdrop of the switch, there will be a small light. It may be because of a neon bulb or LED bulb or something like that. So that even in any late night or a dark night, easily you can identify the switch and you can turn on the switch. Now you are going to a particular shop and the electrical person, the person who is running the electrical store, is showing you a number of switches, and one among them is illuminated switch. Which you will buy? Obviously, you'll buy this because it helps us to turn on the switch in a late night, in a dark night, right? Therefore, this is again a very good example for design thinking, right? Now, here we are seeing an example wherein the design thinking has gone wrong. Example of innovation gone wrong, right? The first two examples are good examples of design thinking, and this is a bad example for design thinking, right? Here they did some design thinking approach, they applied some design thinking approach, but something went wrong, right? We all remember this, right? By the year 2016, the Galaxy Note 7 was all over the news, in the social media, newspapers, TV channels, etc., right? What happened is the phone generated too much of heat, right? Overheating, too much of heat, and certain places the phones even randomly bursted, right? Most of the places the phones bursted, and there are too much of heat being generated by this Samsung Galaxy Note 7. Right, at one point of time, what the Samsung did is, before that, at one point of time, these phones were not allowed to be used inside the flights and inside the airports. So at one point of time, what Samsung did is they recalled these phones from the market at a cost of $5.3 billion. To imagine the loss to the particular Samsung, South Korean company, they recalled the phones at a cost of $5.3 billion. Right now, according to Samsung, what they told is, what they said, there are errors in the phone's design and manufacturing that leads to the heating of the phones and the burst of the phones. Right, there was some errors which is not being identified until it came to the market. Right, there was certain design in the phone's manufacturing and even in the batteries that affected the phone's design, and because of the bad design, the phones bursted and there is overheating. Right, so what the South Korean company did is, from then on, they developed an 8-point check for each and every component. If it has to come out of the Samsung organization, it has to pass through 8-point check, or eight stages it has to pass. Similarly, nowadays you are getting good Samsung phones wherein the batteries are not getting more heat and so on. All these components are passing through an 8 stages, right? Therefore, this is an example wherein some innovation has gone wrong. Okay, next, again, a very good example for deciding. You are seeing a person holding a torchlight Normally, you know, when you hold a torch light, the light will be available in front of us, right? If I am holding the torch light, the light will be available in front of me, right? So those who are following me may not be able to see the light. So what we are going to do is, we are keeping a small bulb near the main bulb, right? The main bulb will be at the front. So if you turn on the light, normally light will be in the front, right? Now you keep a small bulb below the main bulb or the downside of the main bulb so that the light is available near the feet of the user and for those people who are following the particular person who is holding the torch light. Now you can see a shadow like arrangement in the diagram which I have given in the slide. There is a small bulb near the main bulb and below the main bulb, so that once he turn on the torch light, the main bulb will also turn on. Similarly, this because of the small bulb below the main bulb, you'll be having the light near the feet of the user and to the users following the person who is holding the torch light, so that we can easily walk behind, right? Right. Therefore, this is again a very good example for design thinking. So, with each and every product we are using in our day-to-day life, we can apply some design thinking so that it can be made innovative, right? Now, here we are seeing two students writing their pen, right? They are writing some examination or something like that, right? Here is nothing but a pen fitted with a pressure sensor, right? Near the place where we hold the pen, right? Near the place where we have a grip, right? We are holding the pen. In the particular place where we hold the pen, we are keeping some pressure sensors, right? A pressure sensor is being kept. So once you release the sensor, once your grip is being lost, what happens is there will be an alarm or there will be beep signal telling to the particular user or to the student that your attention is diverted or you are feeling something like that, right? Normally, when we will lose the grip, when we are writing and when we feel sleepy, obviously the pen grip loses, right? We will lose it, we'll lose the grip. So because of the pressure sensor, what happens is, since we lose the grip, obviously it gives an alarm or indication to the user telling that you are feeling sleepy or your attention gets diverted or something like that. So this is a very good example. A pen fitted with a pressure sensor, right, near the grip, right? Now again, a very good example. Now you're seeing a water can, right? It's a Coke can, right? You see a Coca-Cola can to the left, right? Now a tablet mechanism is there, right? Normally in Coca-Cola cans, you might have seen this state tablet mechanism will be there. Once you use the can, what you will do is you will just puncture the particular tablet mechanism and you'll throw away, right? Now, normally in now what we can do is we can implement the same mechanism in the normal water bottles, regular water bottles, right? So normally what people are doing is once the water is being used and we throw the bottles, right? The other people used to take the bottle again and they refill the water in the same bottle. Normal, not a distilled water, not the pure drinking water. Something they fill the regular normal water and they will put some seal or something like that, and they will they're selling again and again the same water bottle. So what we can do is we can keep the same tablet mechanism in our traditional water bottle, so that once you use the particular water bottle, you can puncture the particular water bottle. So it cannot be refilled again and again. The particular water bottle cannot be refilled again and again, and it cannot be reused. Or again, if you keep in a particular place also, it will not be unstable. I have been to my native place and I saw one person carrying milk in a water bottle, wherein the outer side of the bottle I have seen it's a distilled water bottle, right? The particular bottle was meant for distilled water, and somebody bought distilled water in the particular bottle, and after using the distilled water, they have thrown the particular water bottle outside. The man who is carrying the milkman who took the bottle and he used to fill the milk and he is giving to the homes in my hometown, right? So you think of the drawback and you think of the health situation or health hazard which happens when we use a distilled water bottle for carrying milk, right? So you can have such mechanisms in water bottles, thereby we can prevent the misuse of water bottles, right? Next is a sensor fitted chair, right? Now you are seeing a sensor, a small red color sensor, right? What happens is this sensor will alert the user if he or she is sitting in a wrong posture, right? If he or she is sitting in a wrong position, obviously what happens is there will be an alarm or there will be an alert signal to the user telling that you are sitting in a wrong position. If you are sitting in a wrong position for a long time, what will happen? Obviously, there will be a back pain and so on, right? Obviously, there will be a number of side effects. Therefore, this sensor which is being fitted in the chair alerts the signal, alerts the user telling that he or she is sitting in a wrong position, right? Therefore, this is a very good example for a sensor fitted chair. Sensors being fitted in chairs. Next is key in car, right? Okay, now assume that you are going to a hotel for a lunch or something like that. You are going to a restaurant and you forgot to close the doors of the particular car, right? The windows of the particular car, and again you forget to take the key from the vehicle, right? Therefore, the window is open, and at the same time, the key is also being forgot, right? It's there, the vehicle. So what happens is you can design some mechanism. There are some mechanisms existing in BMW, etc. Right? Now you can design some mechanism so that if the key is left idle, that too in a off car, if the key is idle for a long time, then it gives an alarm signal, or it can call the particular driver through a phone call, telling that the car is you have opened the car, the windows are being opened and the key is in the car, so that the particular person can come and he can close the windows and take the key back. Therefore, this is again a system in vehicle which alerts the user either to an alarm or through a phone call, a system in a car. Next, we are seeing some caution signals, right? Normally, we see traditional caution signals, right? Now, here, this is a fun caution sign, right? It is a slippery banana, right? These caution signs, what will happen is it will surely grab our attention compared to the traditional caution signal, right? If you keep such caution signs in public places, right? Normally, it will grab our attention than the traditional caution signs. Therefore, this is again an example for design thinking, right? Now, a mobile headset. Yeah, this is also a problem being faced in our day-to-day life. We find people finding very difficult to untangle the cards of the headset, right? So what we can do is, the solution is you can keep different colors, right? A simple solution. What we can do is, for the left ear, you can have a different color. For the right ear, you can have a different color. And for the card which goes to the phone, right? You can have a different color. For multiple colors in headset, if you keep like this, then obviously what happens is untangling becomes very easy. This is again a big problem being faced by many of us. You might have seen this problem when you are traveling in a train or bus. What the problem being faced by human beings, right? Okay, right. Mobile headset. Next is you are seeing toilets, right? This is a very familiar example, right? You might have seen such toilets in airports, flights, or in shopping malls or complex or something like that. So what happens is there are lights which indicates whether the particular toilet is being occupied or not, right? Here there is one toilet in the middle which is occupied and all the others are empty, right? So it gives a clear indication, right? It's again a designing approach. There is no need to go and knock each and every door just like we did traditionally before. Now all these things are there in the market, right? All these are not new. Still, I have to mention here, right? The next is a banana bag. Normally, when we go to a supermarket, we might have seen bananas kept in a normal white color bag or a color bag, right? Here, what we are doing is, now here, this particular supermarket wants to sell some ripe bananas, right? More of ripe. It's a stale banana, right? They want to sell, even it's more of ripe, it's stale banana. What they want to do is they want to sell such bananas because they have in huge numbers. So they apply design thinking, right? What they did is they put all the bananas not in a normal regular cover. They designed some covers, and in the outer portion of the cover, outside of the cover, they designed they printed the recipes for making the ingredients and the recipes for making a bread, banana bread or a banana cake, etc., right? So on seeing the particular cover itself, it will tempt us. It will tempt us to buy the particular banana, right? Even though it's more of ripe, it will tempt us to buy the banana because we have the ingredients for making a banana bread or a banana cake, and the way of making and the ingredients, all these are printed. Therefore, it is forcing or it is tempting us to buy. But if the same ripe banana is kept in a normal bag or a regular bag, you will not buy because it's a more ripe. Even our kids won't prefer a more ripe banana, right? Therefore, this is again a very good example for design thinking. Now, I will tell a real-time example. I went to a store to buy a water purifier, wherein you have a number of purifiers, right? You have a number of purifiers. It may be a Kentaro or AO Smith or Bajaj purifier or whatever may be, right? Now they were told all the advantages of all the products, and finally I bought AO Smith. The reason is there are two small LED bulbs one near the hot water knob and another near the cold water knob. So that what happens is even in nights, there is no need to turn on the lights to fetch the water. Even in the dark night, we can just go fetch the water from the AO Smith water heater, because water purifier, because there are two LED lights which is more attractive, one near the hot water knob and one near the cold water knob. Therefore, which forced me to buy the particular AO Smith water heater. This is a thing which happened in my life. Next is the characteristics of a good design. Whenever we are going to design a product which is of innovative, right? When we want to implement some innovation, etc., we should take care of these characteristics. There are 10 characteristics which are essential for a good design. The first is good design is innovative, right? Obviously, if you want to call it as a good design, then it should be innovative, right? Unless or otherwise, if it is not innovative, then obviously it is not at all a good design. And next one is good design makes the product useful, right? It's very clear. The point itself is self-explanatory. Good design makes a product useful. Then the good design is aesthetic. What do you mean aesthetic? Well executed objects will be beautiful, right? For example, whenever you are going to buy something, you look into the beauty also, right? Therefore, well executed objects will be beautiful. Therefore, a good design will obviously be looking beautiful. Therefore, good design is aesthetic or beautiful, right? Then good design makes a product understandable, right? Therefore, good design should make the product self-explanatory. The product itself should tell the characteristics or the importance of the particular product. Therefore, good design makes the product understandable. Their good product is self-explanatory. Then next is good product is unobtrusive. This is very, very important. For example, I told in the beginning that a good design should attract the attention of the user, right? But here, unobtrusive means it should not attract more of attention and more of reaction from the people, even though it should attract the users and we should get a reaction from the people for the particular good design. It should not be more below, it should not be beyond a threshold, right? You should not get more attention and you should not get more reaction. You should keep in mind these points whenever you're going for good design or whenever designing a product, right? Therefore, good design is unobtrusive means there should not be much of attraction and there should not be much of reaction from the people. And good design is honest, right? What do you mean by this? Good design is honest means we should not, that is the particular product should not manipulate the customer with false promises, right? It should not manipulate the customer with false promises that cannot be satisfied. Once you sell a product with a false promise, and obviously finally at one point of time, the customers will realize the product is of not good, right? And finally you will lose the market. Therefore, good design should be honest. It should satisfy the promise, whatever is being told in the particular design. We should not manipulate the customers with false promises, right? Then good design is obviously long lasting. Whenever you buy a product, you will take care of how long it is going to last. Therefore, good design is long lasting and good design is thorough to the last detail. Here, what I'm going to mention here is whenever you design a product, you take into you keep into consideration, you're going to tell only the important aspects in the design. Important aspects means you're telling only the essential aspect of the particular product and not the non-essential product. For example, you're going to buy an induction stove. Here, if it's too complex, a number of LED, some small switches, etc., means you won't prefer the particular product, right? It should tell the basic things, right? Basic things means there should be a plus for increasing the temperature, for a minus to decrease the temperature in the induction stove, and another switch for boiling the milk, another for boiling the rice, and so on. Therefore, it should not be more of complex, right? Therefore, good design is thorough to the last detail. It should only convey the essential aspects of the particular design. And next is good design is environmental friendly. Obviously, we want nowadays plastic is being banned. Therefore, each and every product what we are going to design, we should keep into consideration that it should be environmental friendly. Then good design is as little design as possible. Therefore, good design should not be complex. It should be a simple design. Next is the stages in the design thinking process. Very, very important. We have seen the various design thinking products we have seen, right? And how to make it innovative. We have seen now these are the 5 stages we have to follow the design thinking process. The first is empathy or empathize. The second one is define. The third one is ideate. The fourth one is prototype, and the fifth one is test. These are the 5 stages: empathy, define, ideate, prototype, and test. These are 5 stages we have to follow in the design thinking process, which is very, very important. Even if you miss in one stage, then obviously your final end product will not be a good design. First of all, let's see what empathy is or empathize is, right? Empathy is nothing but we are going to understand the people for whom you are going to design the product. For example, if you are going to design the product for the old age people, then you have to understand the people, right? You have to understand the old people, you have to talk to them, you have to understand their feelings, you have to understand their needs, you have to understand their wants, you have to understand their objectives. Thoroughly you study the people for whom you are going to design the product, right? Right. Now you are going to study who the users are, what are the challenges they face in their day-to-day life, what are the needs. All these are to be understood, right? Now, how to achieve this? Now, this can be done by surveys or interviews, or basically by talking to people. We can understand their feelings, right? Okay. Therefore, during the design phase, what the designer has to do is he has to spend most of the time in getting knowing the demands of the user, right? In understanding the needs of the user, or in understanding the wants of the user, or in understanding the objectives of the user, right? Okay, in interviews, they will tell different ways. For example, I will tell the same old example. If you're talking to the old age people, they will tell different ways by which they can move around. They will tell about the traditional stick. They will tell about the moving chair, the rolling chair, or something like that, right? So you look for their personal stories and situations whenever we are going to design a product. Now you have to redo this process with many such people, not only you do 1 or 2 or 3 or people. You have to redo the process with many such people, and finally you will be getting an understanding of what their feelings is, what is their need, what is their want, what are their objectives, and so on. You can see a small diagram there. You have to understand their feelings, you have to see their world, right? For example, if you're going to design a product for a teenager, you have to see from their perspective, see their world. Now you have to appreciate them as human beings whenever we are going to design, and you have to communicate your understanding also. Once you have your observations from their point of view, finally you have to communicate your understanding and you can get the feedback. Therefore, empathy is nothing but understanding the customer for whom you are going to design the particular product. Next is a define phase. In this phase, what we are going to do is based on the observations, right? We have received a large number of observations based on the surveys, queries, inquiries, and basically by talking to people, we got large number of observations, right? Based on the observations, here what we are going to do is we are going to formulate a problem statement. Right, we are going to write in paper. We are formulating a problem statement. Now, this problem statement can also be in design thinking. It is also called as a point of view statement. Right, the problem statement is also called as a point of view statement, which will outline or which will underline the issues and challenges that we are going to address in our solution. Based on the observation, we are going to write the problem statement. The problem statement conveys the issues or the challenges that the people face in the day-to-day life are okay, and what we are going to address in our solution, right? Therefore, this problem statement will obviously guide us in the design stage, the next stage what we are going to see, right? Therefore, this will form the basics of our ideas and potential solutions. Next is ideation or ideate. You can call it as ideation or ideate. Okay, now you have a problem statement. Problem statement is what? Based on observations, you written something and you have kept in a paper, right? All these are hard copy form. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to focus on the problem statement, and we are going to come up with many such ideas to solve the particular problem. Maybe for old age people means we are going to solve the problem for the old age people, right? We are going to come up with many ideas to solve the problem, right? Now, here the point is not to get a perfect idea. You can come with many such ideas, right? You can come with many such ideas. Right, you can come with many such ideas, and what you have to do is you have to sketch the best idea out of the many such ideas you have generated. You sketch the best idea and show to the people for whom you have designed the particular product. Right, sketch the best idea of all the ideas which have been generated by you, and show to the people for whom you have designed the product. For example, in our example for the old age people, right, and get their feedback. They'll be telling a lot of feedbacks. Now you have to identify their needs and motivations of the end users, right? Similarly, generate as many ideas as possible, right? This is what is going to happen in the ideation stage. Based on the observation, based on the problem statement, we are going to generate an idea. Now, it is not a single idea. It is not at all a perfect idea. You are going to generate large number of ideas, and you are going to give these ideas to the end user, and you are going to get the feedback. Now, there are a number of ideation techniques. If you go in detail, there are a number of ideation techniques like brainstorming, brain rides, worst possible ideas, scammer, etc. These are some of the ideation techniques. I will tell you only one ideation technique, which is nothing but brainstorming. Brainstorming is nothing but, for example, you have an idea. Now you have to sit in front of the end user. There will be a number of end users who are going to use the product. You sit in front and you have a debate. Debate is nothing but don't debate. Sorry, just opposite. You should not debate. You should convey your idea in front of the users, but don't go for debate. You have a one-to-one conversation. For example, if 100 users are there, don't allow them to debate on the ideas. Then it will not be useful. You will not be getting some useful information out of it. You have a one-to-one conversation. That is what is called as brainstorming. Then another one is brain, right? Worst possible idea, scammer, and so on. We are not going to mention all these things here. Okay. Therefore, now you have an idea. You have a large number of ideas, right? And you have got some feedback also from the end users. The next stage is what is called as a prototype, right? You are going to create a minimum viable product. What, right? Prototype, right? Now, what do you mean prototype? Is a real working model, right? It's a real working model, right? Now, here your prototype could be a combination of a new idea and an existing idea. Don't think that your prototype should be of a pure new idea. It can be a combination of a new idea and what is already being used, and an existing idea. Therefore, a mix-up of a new idea and an old idea can be your prototype. Therefore, you're going to build a real prototype, right? And that is good enough to be tested in this phase. This prototype, you're building a prototype that is good enough to be tested. Now you are again showing this prototype to the end users, and you have to seek the feedback. You have to get the feedback. Now, whenever you are getting feedback here, you have to get the feedback from a diverse group of people, not to only one set of people. You have to get the feedback from a diverse set of people, including your end users. That's very, very important. You have to get the feedback from your end users also. From diverse people, you have to get the feedback, particularly from the end users also, right? Here also, they'll be telling the feedback on your prototype, right? And you reserve the judgment. Don't tell the judgment, and you have to maintain neutral. Don't tell the judgment, right? Finally, based on all these feedbacks, etc., you're going to present the final prototype, right? The next is test. You're going to verify your idea in your real life, right? Now you're going to do, or you're going to test the prototype with actual users, right? Whenever you're testing the prototype also with the regular users or actual users, again, you will get large number of feedbacks. Here, what you have to keep in mind is don't defend your idea. Please keep in mind whenever you are giving a prototype to a real user or an end user, he'll be giving a genuine feedback. You have to accept the feedback, and please don't defend in your idea. Even though you have come across various stages in which you have got various feedbacks, please don't defend your idea if people don't like it. Again, you have to get the feedback, right? Here also you're getting the feedback. Then you have to again, if you get a feedback here, you have to again go to third stage, ideation stage. Finally, you have to come to the prototype stage, again test. These three stages will get repeated because unless the user gets satisfied, these three stages has to be repeated, right? Ideation stage, prototype, and test. Finally, once the end users are happy, finally we can go to the implementation stage, wherein the product will get translated into a final, a viable one, right? Therefore, these are the stages: empathy, understanding. Similarly, what? Defined, wherein you are writing the problem statement. Next is ideation, where we are going to create large number of ideas. Prototype, where we are going to generate a regular prototype, real working model. Test, we are going to test with the end users, and implement, we are going to implement a particular solution. Next is design thinking. It's not a magic, it's a method, right? Now, most of the organizations fail in the design thinking process, right? You have seen many organizations which are successful, but now nowhere they are in the market. Many phone companies are you can take many organizations which were successful even before 2 years, but nowhere there, right? Right? Most of the phone companies you can take as an example, right? Now, this is because of their mindsets. Most probably, this is because of the mindset, and the reason for the failure falls into two categories. First is the individual limits. Normally, the employees of an organization fail to take chances, right? Whenever we for example, we will have the fear that if we take some chance and if we fail, then the management will scold us or something like that. We will have the fear of taking chances. Therefore, individual limits is the main reason. The second one is politics. Whenever you work in an organization, right, there will be some politics. For example, if there is a team of 15 employees and the 15 employees will be in 15 sides, right, they'll be having their own ideas, they'll be having their own strengths and weakness. So finally, there will be some sort of politics which will prevent us from entering into the design thinking process. Then again, organization is also another major factor. For example, organization should force us, right? Whenever if the organization is not telling anything, right? If the organization is not forcing us to do something innovative, then obviously as an employee we will also not do. If there is a forcing from the organization, or if the organization tells us to do something, we'll do something. Therefore, individually we have certain limits, or we have some constraints, or we have some fear of failures, so that we will hesitate to go for design thinking process. First point. The second one is a politics which prevails in the group. It may be a group of 10 or 15, whatever may be the strength. And the organization is also a major reason. It may be a top level management, or it may be a middle level management, or it may be low level management. The organization is also a reason for the this design failure of the design thinking process. Okay, next is I will give some specific points regarding the individual limits. The first one is misunderstanding the conceptual framework. We are not able to recognize, or we are not able to clearly understand the framework for which you are going to do some innovation. Next is fear. As I told, we have a lot of fear of taking a new chances. Next is lack of the process practice and poor team selection and formation. The last point is very important. If you have a poor team, then obviously we cannot improve, or we cannot go forward, right? Okay, next we are seeing a diagram of a person, right? David Kelley, he's the founder of the Global Design and Innovation Company, right? The famous organization design thinking and innovation is Global Design and Innovation Company. He's the founder, right? The name of the organization is IDEO, Innovation Design Engineering Organization, right? He told like this: if you want to succeed sooner, then you want to fail fast. Fail fast if you want to succeed sooner, right? And this is the last quote I have given, is very familiar, right? Success always hugs you in private, but failure always slaps you in public. That's life. So please don't hesitate to take chances wherever you are given a chance. To please don't hesitate. Right? Again, we are seeing the 5 stages of design thinking. Empathize, we are understanding the problem. Define, analyze, interpret, and plan. This is the second stage of design thinking. Then ideate, idea generation phase. Imagine, research, and ponder. Prototype, applying the creativity to create a prototype. And finally, testing the product. Right? Now, any solution, right? The end goal of a design thinking process to create a solution which is viable, and a particular solution should be desirable, and a particular solution should be feasible, right? Any design thinking solution, right, or any design thinking product should satisfy these 3 constraints. It should be a viable one, it should be a desirable one, and it should be a feasible one, right? What do you mean by viability, desirability, and feasibility? Which means that the particular product we are designing should not only satisfy the customer, right, but at the same time it should be easy to implement, and it should have a commercial model as well, right? For viability and desirability and feasibility, all these things together should be there in a solution, which means that it should not only satisfy the user, right, but at the same time it should be easy to implement, and it should have a commercial model as well, right? Therefore, viability is nothing but the ability of a solution to solve the problem, right? The ability of a solution to solve the problem is nothing but viability. And desirability, I will tell you, feasibility, you know, whether a product is feasible in terms of technical feasibility, economical feasibility, and so on, right? Desirability is nothing but whether your innovation is solving the right customer problem, right? Therefore, to the knowledge, for a product to be good design, and for a product to be of an innovative solution, it should satisfy these 3 constraints: viability, desirability, and feasibility. Therefore, these 3 things should come together to form a complete solution or a viable solution. Now, we are seeing a person who is trying to design a clay pot. She is designing the clay pot with the resources nearby, right? With the resources nearby her village, she is designing a pot, and she's trying to sell the particular pot to the audience in her nearby village. She's trying to make a pot with the resources from her own village, and she's trying to sell the pot not farther away in her own village, right? Okay. Now, what is the use of the pots? Pots are used for carrying water. At the same time, pots can be used to, we can keep pots in empty areas so that the particular area will be looking beautiful. Therefore, there are 2, I can tell 2 advantages, right? The pots are meant for carrying water. At the same time, if we kept the parts. If we keep the parts in an empty area, obviously the particular empty area will be looking beautiful. Now, here, what I'm going to mention here is the particular woman or the particular lady is building the parts using the resources nearby, right? Therefore, it is obviously feasible because she is getting the resources nearby to her village, and she is making the part with her own resources in her own village. Therefore, it is feasible, right? Feasible. Next, it is viable. Viable in the sense the part is meant for carrying water using the same part which she is making, right? We can carry the water. Therefore, it is a viable solution. But it's not a desirable solution. Why it is not desirable means, for example, if you want to buy a part, it should be eye-catching, right? It should be of nice shape, size, color, etc., etc. Now, such parts won't be attractive. Now, if you're going to a shop and if you have a clay pot or a mud pot and a normal plastic or silver or a copper pot or a aluminum pot, which pot you will buy? Which metal or which? You will normally buy a silver pot or an aluminum pot or something like that. Right? Therefore, here it is not a desirable product because it will not be bought by most of us. Therefore, it is feasible because it is being done by the local resources. It is viable because it can be used to carry water. Therefore, these both are there, but it's not desirable. The reason being, it will not be attracted by most of the users. Most of the users won't prefer such parts, right? Next, again, only viable and desirable, but none is solving the problem. Hence, it is not feasible. Now, you can see here number of parts in multiple colors, right? You can see aluminum parts, you can see steel parts, you can see some the plastic parts and so on, right? Here, but none is, it is desirable, right? Because whenever you go to a particular vessel shop, right, you will buy such vessels, right? You will buy a vessel. It's viable and it's desirable also, but it's not feasible because there is no water. Parts are being kept empty, right? There's no, it's not a viable solution, right? Sorry, it's not a feasible solution. There's no water, but viability is there, and at the same time, desirability is there. I think you can understand, right? Viability is there and desirability is there, but it's not feasible. Now you see the next slide. See here, here it is desirable and feasible, right? Now here you are keeping the parts in an empty area so that the particular empty area is looking beautiful, right? You can see the empty area because of this but colorful parts. The particular empty area is looking very beautiful. Therefore, it's a desirable one, right? Again, it's feasible. It can be bought by users, right? It can be bought by users. It's feasible and desirable, but it's not viable. Viable means actually it is not meeting the expected solution. Normally, parts are meant for carrying water. Here, the part is meant to just to make the space beautiful. Therefore, it's not a viable solution. It's desirable and feasible, but it's not viable. Therefore, for any solution to be to call it as a good solution, it should satisfy the three constraints. It should be viable, it should be feasible and desirable. In the first case, it is a feasible solution and a viable solution. The second case, viability is there and desirability is there, but no feasibility because there is no water to carry. And again, the third, desirability is there and feasibility is there, but it cannot be used to carry water, right? Therefore, viability is not there. Now, we are going how to ensure all these three elements are there in a good design: viability, desirability, and feasibility. We will call a design as a good design only if all the three elements are there in a design, right? Viability, feasibility, and okay. Now we are going to have an activity like thing, right? We are going. You have to do this. The task is you have to make a toast, right? You have to make a toast. Make a toast in the sense you have to draw how to make a toast. The task is you have to draw how to make a toast. And the slide I have told I will give you 5 minutes, but not 5 minutes. I will give you 3 minutes for drawing a toast. Right? I'll give you 3 minutes. The timer starts now, and after 3 minutes. Oh, this is the task we are doing regularly in our design thinking workshops, right? Normally, when 50 to 100 users, 100 persons attend a design thinking workshop, we do such activity, right? They will give 5 minutes or 3 minutes. And after 3 minutes, they will look into the end result, right? Okay. Now, assume that we are drawing something. What you have to do is, I will give 5 minutes. The task is how to draw a toast, right? You cannot write anything in words. That's very important. You cannot write anything in words, but you can explain in a visual format using sketches and sticky notes. What do you mean sticky note? When you've seen a sticky note, right? Some colored papers, right? In multiple shapes, it will come, right? Therefore, you should not write anything, and you have to draw the toast, how to make a toast in a paper with color pencil or pen and sticky notes, right? Now, by this time you have finished drawing, and once you are finished drawing how to make a toast, show to somebody else who is nearby you. It may be your father or mother or friend or a relative or something else, and you ask them what it means to them, right? You're showing the diagram to them and ask them what drawing about, what the drawing is about, right? Now they'll be telling some feedbacks, right? Based on their conclusion or based on what the diagram they see, right? They will be telling this is this, etc. Right? Now, after getting the feedback, you should have realized how different the diagrams are than what you meant to be, right? You have meant something different, but based on the feedback, they have come to some other conclusion. Therefore, the feedback is after you're getting the feedback, you should have realized how different the drawings are than what you meant to be, right? Now I will use some diagrams. Now see here, the Americans make a toast with the toaster, right? Americans make a toast with the toaster. Now this is again another diagram. The Europeans make toast with a frying pan. Now the third one is the students make toast with the fire, right? And to the right hand side, you can have a microwave oven or something like that. Now, here I have just given 4 diagrams. There will be, if there are 100 users in a workshop, right, design thinking workshop, 100 diagrams will be there, not even 100. One person will draw 2 or 3 diagrams. There will be 100 to 200 or 300 diagrams will be there. In each and every design or each and every diagram will convey a different thing. For example, these are 4 diagrams. I will use some diagrams. One will draw only the electric circuit board of the induction stove, and other person will draw only the ingredients of making the toast, right? Making the toast, and another person will draw that he is going to a shop, buying the ingredients and coming back, and then he is starting to make a toast. Therefore, there will be multiples of drawings, but when we show these drawings and get the feedback from the others, right? What we mean is, and it will be different from what they understood. Here, what I am coming to tell is, if viability is there and if desirability is there and feasibility is there in a particular solution, then your understanding and their understanding will be the same. If these 3 are missing, then your understanding will be different from what their understanding is, right? Okay, this is the toasting example. Normally, each and every design thinking workshop will have most of the activity thing, right? Okay, next we are going to see the double diamond diagram of design thinking. Already we have seen the 5 stages of design thinking, right? Okay, ideate, prototype, design, etc., empathy, and so on, right? Here we are going to see 2 terms very important. The first one is a divergent thinking, and the second one is a convergent thinking. Divergent thinking is from the name, it's from the term itself is think broadly, right? Convergent thinking means think narrow. Therefore, think broad, think narrow. Now you can see the diagrams here. Now, in the discover stage or the empathy stage, as I told you in the first slide, you are getting the inputs from a large number of users. If you're going to design a product, an innovative product, you should get the feedback from a large number of users. You have to understand the feelings, you have to understand their personal stories, you have to understand the situations, right? So you have to conduct surveys and you have to gather large volume of information. Therefore, divergent thinking, right? What's the next stage? The define stage. Right? Therefore, based on the understanding, we are just going to write the problem statement. We won't write all those what we heard through our years. We will be writing only the problem statement based on our understanding. Therefore, it's a convergent thinking. For example, we heard some information for 2 hours or 3 years from large number of people. We'll be writing a problem statement for 1 page. Right? Therefore, it's a convergent thinking. Next is, again, in the ideation stage, we are diverging. Right? As I told in the previous slide, we have to generate large number of ideas, right? Based on the needs and demands of the users, we have to generate large number of ideas. For a particular design alone, we have to generate a large number of ideas. Therefore, again, it's a diverged thing, right? Generating a large number of ideas, right? Therefore, ideation. Next, in the prototype, what you'll do? Do you convert all the ideas into prototype? No, obviously no. Only a very limited or a specific ideas will be converted into a prototype. For example, if you have 10 ideas being generated, right? 10 ideas were generated. Now, out of the 10 ideas, only a 2 or 3 maximum, I'm telling the maximum, only a 2 or 3 will be converted to prototype. And finally, therefore, it's converging, right? 10 ideas converted into 3 when it comes to the prototype stage. Right? And finally, we'll be having only 1 prototype, which is a real working model. That's a specific solution, right? And that will be given to the end user for verification, testing, and so on. Therefore, here there are 2 main stages which comes through all the 5 steps of empathy, define, ideal, prototype, test, and implement. The two important things are, one is a divergent thinking, which comes in the research stage and the ideation stage, and the convergent thinking, which comes in the insight stage and the prototype stage. Right? Therefore, this is a double diamond diagram of design thinking. Right now, I am going to connect the business aspect with design thinking. Already we have seen various examples in the previous slides of design thinking, very basic examples which we are doing in our day-to-day life. Now I am going to connect the business aspect with design thinking. Let us take the example of a company that we all know, right? That's a familiar company which is making all the sports accessories, right? The company is Nike, right? Okay, Nike is also making shoes, right? And they have been making multiple accessories for different types of athletes, for football, volleyball, basketball, etc., etc. They're making a lot number of accessories. Now, in this slide, we are seeing a runner, right? Running. He's running fast, and the insole of the shoe is coming out. The insole is coming out, the popping out of his shoes, right? The insole coming out of his shoes, right? And Nike was trying to do better for this problem, right? Whenever the particular person or the sportsman runs fast, obviously the insole will come out, right? As and when the Nike realized that it is only because of the socks, only the socks pulled out the insoles. Most probably in the design, they realized that the socks is pulling the insoles out when the runner fast, right? When the runner runs fast. This is problem that has been faced by multiple shoe companies at that time, right? Whenever the runner runs fast, the insole comes out. Therefore, Nike conducted a lot of experiments on this particular issue, that is insole coming out, and they conducted a lot of frequent trials with a lot of runners and so on, right? The problem is very evident, right? It is easily definable. What happens is it's very clear, only the socks is pulling out the insoles. That too, this will happen only when the runner or the sportsman is running fast. However good the shoes are, even you are having a good shoe, right? A good shoe or a good design. If the runner runs fast, the socks will pull the insole out. Okay. Okay. Now, what would a usual designer do? Normally, an usual designer, what will be the solution? He will stick the insole, right? He will stick the insole with some material, some arrangement. Normally, if I am a designer, what I will do is I will stick the insole with a thick glue, right? Thick glue, I will stick the insole so that I will come to the conclusion that further the insole will not come out, right? This is the normal solution we will do, right? We'll stick the insole with a thick glue or some arrangement like that, right? But Nike viewed the problem in a different way. They tried to understand they tried to diverge an understanding of the problem, right? They didn't look at just the insole coming out, but they looked in two different aspects. One is the insole coming out, and another one is the socks which pull the insole out. Okay, therefore, there are two factors which we have to consider here. One is the insole coming out and the socks which pull the insole, right? So, what they did is, nowadays, the socks is something being considered extra, right? Normally, we forget to wear the socks, right? We forget to buy socks and we forget to wash the socks and so on, right? Socks is being something considered extra by most of us, right? And what Nike did is, they completely eliminated the socks out of the shoe, right? They completely eliminated. This is the main reason for their success, right? The Nike's main success is they completely eliminated the socks out of the shoes, right? Normally nowadays you can see Nike shoes coming without socks, right? Okay, this is again a very good innovation which is being done by the Nike shoe company, right? Okay, now we are seeing some people wearing some spectacles or wearing some goggles, right? And some people are working in labs and workshops, and some people are working in gardening, trimming the trees and cutting the trees, and some carpentry works. And most of these people in these slides are wearing the glasses, right? They are wearing, we are not sure they are wearing a proper goggle or a proper spectacle or so on, right? Now, there's a survey like this, 600 workers worldwide suffer eye injuries every day, and 4,000 eye injuries alone in New Zealand alone every year, right? And most of these are preventable. Now, here, what I am going to convey here is, most of the people are using some goggles, right? But we are not sure whether they are wearing the perfect goggle. Therefore, what we have to do is, we have to design, we have to apply some innovation, or we have to apply some design thinking solution, and we have to find out a proper goggle I think these goggles are not fitting properly. Those goggles which are being weared by these people, it doesn't fit properly, and because of this, dust will get inside, and most of them are getting eye infection. And I'm going to survey also, right? Therefore, one company, they apply design thinking, right? They apply design thinking, and they have done user studies. They have done pattern search, right? They have done some competitor analysis of those people who are already in the spectacles market and so on. And finally, they come up with a number of solutions, right? And one solution I will show, right? This is a perfect solution, right? This is called as an unfoggable and foldable mesh. This is a solution for them. And unfoggable, foggable, right? Unfoggable, and it's a foldable mesh. It's a patented mesh. It's a registered design. It will not fog. It's lightweight. It's comfortable to wear, and it's flexible. It's durable and foldable. Once you wear this mesh, the result is that none of them are getting any eye infection, right? Because of the dust getting inside. Therefore, the conclusion here is those people who already faced eye injuries in the previous slides, they might not have weared proper glasses or proper spectacles or proper goggles. Only because of that they got eye infections. That's the conclusion. Therefore, make sure that whenever you're going for a new design, you should keep the end user in mind, and it should be affordable, it should be flexible, and it should be okay. Economically also, you have to take into consideration economical feasibility also. Now, this is the design thinking being applied in our institution, R.M.K. Engineering College, a low-cost, energy-saving occupancy sensors for R.M.K. Sensors, right? Normally, here we are using tools. Normally, for example, in classes or in our homes also, we forget to turn off the lights and the fans when we leave the room, right? Normally, in our institution or in any colleges or in any schools, students just leave the room once the classes are over. They will forget to turn off the light and the fans, right? Therefore, the fan and light will be there for a long time until the particular whatever, maybe the watchman or someone who comes off and turn off the fan and light. Therefore, here we have an innovation being applied in R.M.K.EC. It's a real-time example. We have kept motion sensors and occupancy sensors in each and every room. Right, we have motion sensors and occupancy sensors in each and every room. We are in the process of completing for the entire institution. What it do is, for example, once there is occupancy in the particular room, or if there is some movement inside the room, then obviously the fan and light will turn on. Otherwise, automatically it will get off. Right. Once you leave the room, once there is no occupancy, or once there is no movement, obviously the fans and lights will switch off. Right, this is mainly because of the motion sensors and occupancy sensors. Right, I will tell the advantages of motion sensors and occupancy sensors. Motion sensors will respond to moving people, animals, and any objects. Right, if you take in general. Similarly, occupancy sensors will detect the presence of people, animal, or objects in a targeted area. Therefore, we kept these two sensors in each and every room. So the lights will turn on and the fans will turn on only if there is an occupancy. If there is no occupancy, obviously both will turn off. This is an innovation being applied in R.M.K.EC. Thereby, we are saving the electricity expenses, right? Okay. Now, you can apply design thinking to each and every product you are using in a day-to-day life, but you have to think differently. That's all. You are using a mobile phone or using something, whatever product you are using, you can do some sort of innovation and make it more comfortable, flexible, affordable to the users. Thereby, you can make it feel happy, right? Now, this is innovation being applied in R.M.K.EC. And if you have a good innovation, then obviously you can go in for a patent. I have two patents. One is wireless remote security management server for IoT on the communication engineering field. Right, I am the first author, and the second patent for blood glucose sensing non-invasive technique. Therefore, if you have a good patent or if you have a good design, then obviously you can go for a patent. Right, already we have conducted a patent webinar in the last but previous week. Okay, now, okay, next, this is my mail ID and mobile number. Thanks for a patient listening. If you have any queries, you can please ask. Sir? Any queries?
Karthik, you can read out the queries from the YouTube, right?
Sir, there are no queries, sir. Just appreciations about the session, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, ma'am, post the feedback.
Okay, sir.
Thanks, participants, for a patient listening, right? Thank you. Thank you all.
So thank you, Dr. Jaison. Again, today also you're giving important the same session for step-by-step improvement and with a lot of examples and real-life examples for design thinking innovations. So once again, thank you all the participants, the faculty members, students of various engineering college and different part of the country for listening this session on behalf of Institution Innovation Council, R.M.K. Engineering College, Chennai. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye. Be safe. Bye.
Feedback link posted, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Karthik, sir. They've done pattern search, right? And they've done some